Hey there, welcome to ViewPoint Christian Academy, where we've been helping families meet their Christian education goals since 1984. Failure is not an option. It's not the same as we won't fail you. Stay tuned, we're going to talk about that today on Monday Moments. So recently it's come to my attention that in the state of Massachusetts, and I'm sure probably many other places around the United States, there are several districts, school districts, public school districts, that are mandating that teachers not be allowed to fail their students. Even if the student doesn't show up, if they do none of the work whatsoever, they have to pass them. They're not allowed to fail them. Some, even like in Lynn, Massachusetts, are being told that if they do fail them, it would be a racist thing to do, and therefore they cannot do that. Now, in my opinion, that's absurd, and it's extremely prejudicial to the student. How can you do that to a child? How can a teacher in good conscience do that to a student and say, oh fine, we're just going to pass you along, acting as if all of the material that they are supposed to learn in that year is not important, nobody cares, it's not that big a deal. You can go on the rest of your life and not know any of that stuff. You see, here at ViewPoint Christian Academy, if you know that we have a program where failure is not an option. Well, that doesn't mean a student never fails a test. It just means that we don't let them move on until they actually go back and master that material and are then able to pass the test. We require a minimum threshold of learning. We want to see competency in our students. So there's no point in going on to the next thing if you haven't already mastered what's taking place. That's our academic philosophy. That's our philosophy of education, right? Where learning is constantly happening. And time is the variable. It doesn't matter how long it takes, you're going to get it. You're not going to move on until you do. And if it takes less time, you can move on. You can accelerate yourself. You can keep going. This is our philosophy where failure is not an option. But for so many, right now, it's not that failure is not an option. It's just that we won't fail you. And that is failing the child. That philosophy, that approach is a tremendous disservice to children. We are on the brink here in the United States of a crisis. We are already there, but really we're going to see the fruits manifested very shortly of a crisis in education. There are going to be so many what we call here commonly as learning gaps. Students who are going to be passed in subjects that they did not learn. Students who are going to be pushed along and moved. This is already happening, but now the pandemic is escalating that in many students. They're just going to keep moving. Just keep moving them along. Just keep them going. Just push them forward. Push forward. But the learning level stays here, and they just get moved to the next level. Now, how can you successfully operate on this level if you didn't successfully operate on this level? You can't. You can't. That's why an individualized, mastery-based program is so vital. It's so vital. Now look, in our school it works. It's true. We have students who are still behind in some subjects because they're not mastering the material. And so what do? We don't say, oh, you poor child, we want your psyche to feel better. We want you to have good self-esteem. We're just going to let you go on. Oh, you got a 60-something on that? That's fine. Just go ahead. Move on to the next thing. Oh, you got a 50 on that test? That's okay. Just move on to... No, that's not helpful. That's not beneficial to the child. What will we do instead? We'll say, okay, you got this level, but you need to get to this level. So therefore, let's go back and review until you get to this level. And then when you can demonstrate that you are competent in that material, we'll move on to the next. Now, what parent in their right mind would not say, yeah, that's what I want for my child? What parent would say, oh no, I don't care if my child learns anything. They're just there for daycare. Well, maybe there are some parents out there that are like, I don't care. Just let the school take care of it. But God is raising up a generation of parents, and they're coming into view right now, that are saying this: no, God gave that child to me. They are my responsibility, and I'm going to make sure that they get everything that they need. They're going to get all of their talents, and they're going to use them for the Lord. If they got a 5 talent, I'm going to make sure my child is pushed to that limit. Whatever it is, they are going to grow in that way. And that's what God is raising up right now. A generation of parents who are realizing their God-given responsibility and saying, look, this is what we need to do. And ViewPoint Christian Academy is a great program for those parents. because we are all about mastery. We're all about learning and progressing forward. Look, we've got some students that are struggling and they're taking more time. They may not be as far advanced as they should be for the year, but that's because they're not learning as they're not going to move on until they learn this. So they're learning, maybe not as much as we might like to see them learn, but they are learning as they're in the program. Now, we have some students that are killing it this year. And by that, I mean, we have some students that have already finished all of their work for the year in several subjects, and we're only in March. We have some students that have completed a full year's worth of work. We have three high school students who've already finished a full year's worth of work. Two of them are working on a second year. One of them's already finished all requirements for graduation. They are just accelerating. We have other students that are just plodding along and plugging and doing so well. Some of them will complete more than a full grade. They will advance into the next grade early, and that's okay. And that's great. So they have that opportunity for advancement, but they also have the opportunity to ensure and to fulfill the mandate of learning. And this program is working really well. We're not like the other schools. Failure is not an option here. But we're not saying we won't fail you. We're saying we won't fail you. In that regards, if that I know I'm making a pun here, right? We're not going to fail the student by accepting a failing grade. We're going to bless the student by ensuring academic success. Now, one thing that I've heard lately, and you've probably heard it and seen it all around, headlines that say things like virtual learning is dangerous. Wait, virtual learning is dangerous? Now, I understand that there's an aspect of isolation that is occurring right now, and that can be problematic. That could indeed be dangerous for some students. I think it's time. Look, it's spring, baseball season, beautiful weather. Our spring. This is rare for us around here in Massachusetts. What a beautiful spring start we're having. It's baseball season. Let the kids go out and play baseball. Let them go out and play. It's time for them to begin to interact and have. And the only one that really should be mandated to wear a mask is probably the catcher. But again, that's okay. We'll get to another. We'll get. All right, I'm sidetracked there. All right. But what am I saying? Yeah, understanding the idea of isolation, that can be problematic. And there is an aspect of the fact that yes, you need that camaraderie, you need that working together. But is virtual learning dangerous? No, it's not dangerous. It's not dangerous at all. Many of our students, all of our students who are doing virtual learning, that's not dangerous to them. They're experiencing success, so many of them. They're actually growing and they're increasing and they're becoming more knowledgeable in so many areas. Virtual learning in and of itself is not dangerous. Now, what is dangerous is the way that the public education system is doing it. Here's a Zoom session, you have to sit down, you have to do this. That doesn't work. Requiring a child to have a device and sit down and have that's not going to work. To have a Zoom session, it is not, it's going to be a failure to the student. It's going to be dangerous to their education. But when you have a program like ViewPoint has, where everything is all laid out, the scope and sequence is there, and you're progressing along from one unit to the next, only as you master, oh boy, that's good for the student. But what the public school is doing, yeah, that's dangerous. That is dangerous. It's dangerous to education. It's failing them. It's not working. So you need a program like ViewPoint. And you know what? ViewPoint is here right now. And many other programs, we're not the only one out there like this, but there are programs like ViewPoint that are ready to empower parents for success. We're ready to empower more parents to help their children find success in education. We're ready to empower parents to fulfill the God-given calling that God has placed on their life to provide their child with a quality Christian education, an education that matches the discipleship that Jesus commanded us to go out and produce throughout the world, making our children disciples of Jesus and causing them to have a second to none high quality Christian education. That's what we have right now, and that's what we need. So let me say this today. Again, failure is not an option. It's not the same as what the schools are telling the teachers. You don't have the option of failing a child even if they don't do the work. No. Failure is not an option in our program. Means nope, you're going to succeed, you're going to learn, and you're going to go forward as you demonstrate success and learning. That is the kind of philosophy that we need. Failure is not an option. No, we're not going to fail you. No, that's a tremendous problem in our country right now, particularly in the state of Massachusetts. So let me encourage you parents, take a look at what's happening, be encouraged, be blessed, and we want to help you We want to help empower you to provide your child with the education that God wants them to have. Hey, have a great day. Happy spring as we begin this first week of spring. What beautiful weather is upon us. Have a great day. God bless you.